next. Yeah. Here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Of course.
So, I would like to say a warm welcome to you, and I thank you for providing this time to speak to me. And like I will be sharing this information with lots of students. Some of these students are still in high school, and some of these are probably finishing their undergraduates. And the purpose of this meeting is to help students understand what WestCliff University is all about. Of course, everyone understands it's about studying in the US. So I would probably request that you put it into context, studying in the US, and then breaking it down to WestCliff, and then into the smaller campus that it is with this kind of family atmosphere, the prospects of studying there after studies and so on, and the care that you give students and the quality and the methods of study. And then, of course, it will be very important to know more about the financial requirements. What should students plan for when they want to go to your university, right?
Amazing. Thank you so much for having us. I'm Reema Bhakchandani. I'm the International Outreach Representative, and I'm happy to go through a presentation with you, which is about WestCliff. And, we'll try and attach all the questions that you have. And if you have more questions, feel free to reach out and we'll address those. Okay. I will share my screen. Let me know when you can see it. Are you able to see my screen?
It's loaded, yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is the main campus, which is the Irvine campus. We're located on the fourth floor. This is where I am currently. This is the one of the main campuses that we have. Apart from the Irvine campus, we have additional campuses, which are in Miami, Florida, and the next one is Los Angeles, California, which opened about 2 weeks ago. So we have three campuses that students can actually choose from. Okay, and if they want to be in the East Coast or the West Coast, they can make the decision based on the courses and based on what part of the country they want to be in. We are accredited with VASC, SHIA, and ACBSP. So we have multiple accreditations that are available for WestCliff. The main campus, which is in Irvine, California, it is one of the safest cities in America. It's been awarded several times. Location specifically is about 20 minutes from Disneyland, and it's about 45 minutes from Los Angeles and San Diego. So it's also in the business district. So it has a lot of companies like Facebook and Google that are close by. So it really helps students when they're looking for any kind of internship opportunities. Okay. The Miami campus, this is also in the business district in Miami. So again, very close to a lot of companies like Tesla and certain other companies. So it really helps if they want to look at any kind of internships that would be available. A couple of facts about WestCliff as of 2024. We have 5,380 current students that are enrolled with us. We're very proud of the diverse population in terms of students. So we have 103 different nationalities that are represented. We have a student and faculty ratio of 10:1. So it's a very personal experience that students basically have. High graduation rate of 92%. 94% of students are satisfied with the education they get at WestCliff, and 85% of them get job placement after graduation. Okay. Coming to bachelor's programs at WestCliff, we have three main universities, which is College of Business, College of Technology, Engineering, and the College of Education. Everything that is listed in yellow is the main degree, and everything that's listed in white are the concentrations, and everything that is in S are the STEM courses specifically. Okay. Then coming to the master's and the doctorate programs, we have the College of Business, College of Technology, Engineering, Education, and the College of Law. Again, the same main courses are, the main degree is listed in yellow, and the concentrations are in white, and the STEM courses are listed in green. We also offer certificate programs. So between 6 months to a year, certificate programs are available. So under the College of Business, under the College of Technology, Engineering, and Education, students can choose if they want to go for any specific certificate courses. Now, under this, we also have OPT that is eligible to students if they complete a 1-year certificate programs. That really helps if they want to look at any work permits, right? Now, OPT and CPT, this is off-campus internship opportunities. CPT can either be full-time or can be part-time, and master's and bachelor's and doctorate students are eligible to do off-campus internships almost immediately when they join the program. The undergraduate students must complete the first academic year before they can enroll for CPT. Okay. Now, OPT is eligible after they complete their graduation. So 1 year of OPT is given to all students. An additional of 2 years is given to students that decide to take a STEM course. Okay. OPT can be taken once in the year, and it can either be part-time or it can be full-time. Now, the education model. We have an education model which we go by. It's called KPRI. It is contextualizing, applying practical, relevant, and inclusive education opportunities. So this really helps when students basically go outside and look for jobs, and making the process not just all about book information, but it's a lot of practical hands-on training that they receive. We have several employer partnerships with like Disneyland, Amazon, Gatorade, and several other companies. So this really helps in them finding the kind of internship opportunities that would be available. Okay. Now, the additional services at WestCliff. There are several student services that are available. So, for example, when students come in from a different country, I know it's very hard. I'm also a student with WestCliff currently, and I'm working with them. So, I know the transition can be really hard. So, it really helps to have, student services and ambassadors actually guide you through it. So, like, there are different ambassadors that they can choose from. So, like, if they specifically want to speak to someone from the African community, they can do that. If they wish to speak to someone in general, they can do that as well. So those options are available, so they know what to expect when they come to the university. There are several career services options that are available. So one-on-one guidance is available. They can take professional workshop. They also help in building, their resumes and LinkedIn. So that can be done with our career services department. We also have several learning resources that are available. So there is like a 24-hour library. There is also a writing center. So these resources really help our students in making their papers better, in making their educational journey more supportive while they are here. Okay. There are several student clubs. So I think one of your questions did mentions if there are specific African clubs that are available for students. Yes, there are. We're also celebrating several festivals, like we're doing a Chinese New Year. We're doing like a Holi festival, which is an Indian festival. We're also looking at celebrating some African festivals this year. So it's a lot of like fun community, and like it's a vibe when, all the students can talk to each other with their peers. They can even talk to the professors that come for these events. So it's a really nice, it's a warm feeling. Apart from just studying, they also get a holistic experience in terms of student life. Accommodation, we offer homestays and off-campus accommodation options which range between $800 to $1,000. We don't have on-campus accommodations that are available, but we assist our students in finding the accommodation options that feel right for them. Admission requirements, for students to apply, they need to reach out to the educational partner. That would be you, Stephen, in this case, and they can use the portal to basically make the application. The requirements for diploma and transcripts is 2.0 GPA for undergraduate and 2.5 GPA for graduate students. We have several English proficiency exams that are accepted, and several exams that are listed here. When I share this list with you, you can see it on the website. Just to give you a snapshot, the scores for TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo are on the bottom right of the screen. We do not require GRE, GMAT, and SAT scores, so that's a big relief. They don't have to spend those additional hours studying for those exams. They can totally apply if they don't have GRE, GMAT, and SAT. And we are also going to help you with like a checklist of documents that would be needed, so you can share that with the students. Okay. We have a real pathway program, which is basically reimagining English as an additional language. So for example, if any of the students have a lower English proficiency, they can opt for the real pathway program, which is a 16-week intensive English program course. And once they complete this course, they can transition into either an undergraduate or a graduate degree. Okay. Coming to tuition, there is an international fees for tuition. For bachelor's for 1 year is 20,850, for master's is 14,310, and for doctors is 17,100, as you can see on the screen. We do have several accredited programs available, so if they want to complete the course in less than, say, for a master's less than, say, 2 years, they can opt for additional courses and finish the course sooner. Okay. We offer monthly payment plans and semester-wise payment plans, so that really helps. They don't have to feel the burden of like, a big amount that comes to them. They can basically start off with like monthly installments and semester-wise installments. Roughly, the housing, living, transportation expense in California comes to about 20,000 per year. Okay. We have 6 enrollments. So the next enrollment that is coming up is February 12th is the deadline, and the one after that is April 8th. But we have an enrollment every 2 months. So whenever your students are ready, we're happy to have them and they can start applying. Scholarships and grants. Several scholarships are available for international students. So scholarships up to $10,000 are specifically awarded per year. So I highly encourage students to basically apply for a scholarship. Even before they get their offer letter, they can apply for scholarships. So all they need to do is basically go to the website. I will just navigate and show you. So once they click on the scholarships and the grants page, the first step is that they need to have minimum qualification, right? So the GPA scores needs to match. They need to draft an essay for up to 500 words. They need to then add the additional documents like resume letter, letter of recommendations, any other additional awards or certificates, and then complete the application. Now, when you scroll down on this page, they can see what specific scholarship they want to look at. So for example, let's say they want to do nonprofit scholarship, they can click on this button and they'll see details that are listed here. So when they scroll down, they can see more and more scholarships that just feel more, relevant to them specifically. Okay. Now, coming back to why choose WestCliff, the first thing being that we have affordable tuition for a private university, payment plans are available, several scholarship options are available for international students. The location is amazing. Like I was telling you, Irvine is one of the safest cities in America. It's been awarded several times. And it's a beautiful campus. It's very clean and it's really inclusive in its nature. We have multiple campuses that they can choose from if they want to be in the East Coast or they want to be in the West Coast. So students can actually choose which campus. We have a real pathway program, which is the English proficiency communication pathway program. So in case the English proficiency is lower, they can take the real pathway program and then transition into an undergraduate or graduate role. Experiential learning. So while they are studying, they can start working off campus. So this really helps, just supporting the lifestyle and general living expenses. So CPT is for off-campus internships while they're studying, and OPT is when they complete their graduation. Additional 36 months is given to students that have a STEM course. In terms of schedule and flexibility, we have 6 intakes. Accelerated programs are available for bachelor's and master students. We have a 100% online program that is available if they want to take courses online. And we don't require GRE, GMAT, and SAT scores. Okay. A little bit about the timelines. The first step would be for them to apply online. They need to click on the portal, reach out to you specifically, and make the application process. That's where they can upload their diploma transcripts, the English proficiency, and all the documents that might be needed. Once that is done, they will get an acceptance letter. Once they get the acceptance letter, they can submit the bank statements and the I-20 request form. The I-20 request form is a digital I-20, so we do not charge for it. It's free of cost. Once they receive that, they can pay the service fee and they can schedule the embassy interview. The post-visa approval stage is within the 5 days of visa approval. Once they get the visa approval, they can send us the scanned copy. That's where they need to pay a $1,000 tuition deposit. This is refundable in case the student decides to not come to WestCliff, but we highly encourage students to, be with us, and that's why this tuition deposit has been put in. That's where they will sign the agreement and the advisory session will take place. Once all of this is done, we will go into a pre-arrival stage, which is where the housing and flight itinerary options come into place. The best part is then them arriving in the US. So once they arrive, they need to carry all of their transcripts, bring in their English proficiency and all the documents that might be needed. And then they will have a compulsory student orientation that happens 2 weeks prior to start date. Now, in terms of students specifically applying, they should not apply directly on the website. They should apply via you so that, the student gets attached to the portal with you and the information and all the documents that are needed is more transparent. The process is more systematic. The student will get an email from once you have made the application, the student will receive an email which will have all of these details like a login information where they can also access the portal. And if they need to apply and upload any of the documents, they can do that as well. Okay, this is what the student portal looks like. So they can click on this tab which says choose file and choose from any of the files that are available here. They will also get a status update on the left hand corner. So like if any document is awaiting or any document is waived, they will see all the details over here. That pretty much brings me to the end of the presentation. Currently, the application fees is zero. It's free of cost. We highly encourage you and your students to apply because we have a new portal. So, till further notice, we have taken off the application fees. So, whenever your students are ready, we're happy to have them and ready to answer your questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rema. This is well understood. And I couldn't find, I've looked through quite a number of universities, private universities, and I haven't seen anyone that comes closer to WestCliff in terms of cost.
Oh, yeah.
This is really very affordable. And
Mhm.
if I were to make a decision to go to study to the US right now, I think I would be one of the first students to sign up.
That's
So
amazing.
I
Thank you.
noticed a couple of very positive things. You mentioned the issue of the initial deposit, because for many students, the first payment is always what makes it hard for them to make the step.
Right.
I help a lot of students, for example, to come to study in Germany. And one thing I noticed, the initial investment is very hard, blocked accounts and all that.
Mhm.
Now, can you tell me a little bit about the proof of finance for someone who wants to study in the US? What is the requirement according to the current visa requirements at the American embassy?
So let me just pull up and share my screen
Mhm.
so that it'll be easier. Okay, tell me when you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so basically for bachelor students, it is 37,956. So how the calculation works even is the first year of tuition fees
Mhm.
plus the living and transportation and housing expense that they would have for 1 year would
Mm,
give them a total of how much would be needed in the bank statement.
mm,
Okay. Now, if there is any spouse dependent, there is an additional of 6,024 that would be needed. And if there is a child dependent, an addition of 3,313 would be required for them to have in their bank statements.
mhm. Wonderful. Would you advise someone to come with a family coming to study for the first time?
That is a very personal choice. It depends. I mean, if they feel that they are financially ready to take that leap and bring in their family, sure.
Mm,
But that's a very personal choice. I would not want to recommend anything to anyone. But yeah, as long as they have the funds and if they
mm.
have the mind space to study and to, take care of family, sure, why not? It's always good to have family close by.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my follow-up question, you mentioned about the support foreign students get, which
Yes.
I believe is extremely important, especially for someone who was, let's say, a student from Kampala, Uganda, or from Nairobi, or somewhere deep in Nigeria, who
Hmm.
does not have any travel experience.
Hmm.
That welcome support is very important. What was your experience as a foreign student, I believe, at some point? What can you say about your memory of, let's say, Westcliff when you started studying as a student?
Love it. Great question. So, I actually have a very interesting memory. So, the first time that I was looking at the university, someone recommended it to me. So, it came through like an alumni that I spoke to, and I reached out to them on LinkedIn. And I always like to do my research. So, I always recommend students do your research, talk to the alumni. They're the best people to give you feedback on the university. So, my experience specifically was I spoke to an alumni, and she told me, she said, these are the key things why it works for you, because I've also worked in India before I came here. So, there was a little bit of an educational gap. So I
Mm,
was like, how am I going to be able to, is it going to be hard? Is it going to be easy? So the person I spoke to told me that that's the best thing about WestCliff is that there are a lot of like CPT and OPT options you can start working. So you don't have to feel the pressure of like not finding a job. They assist you through the process of finding jobs. For master students, if you have any queries, you want to speak to your professor specifically about something, they're very reachable. So it's not like bigger universities where the ratio is very very high. Like there are 100 students and one professor. Here it's different. It's like 10 students and one professor. I can have a face to face chat with my professor and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this paper, or I'm struggling with this subject, I'm not being able to get it, can you help me? And they're more than happy to do it. So I think my experience was a lot to do with, number one, being the alumni, guiding me through the process, and also just going through the journey with the professors on whatever subjects I felt were a little hard for me, because I come from a different country and the education system is different. So it really helps to have that one-on-one interaction with professors.
mm.
Yeah, that would be my takeaway.
Yeah, I think the key word from what you said, you mentioned the right thing, do your own research.
Yes,
Because the most important, the alumni gave you information, but you went ahead and did your own research. It's very
yes,
important. And I think it's also a good preparation for someone to study abroad that you do your own research.
yes.
So looking at the long-term plans, students who would like to come to study, but
Hmm.
they have intentions to staying back maybe for some couple of years.
Hmm.
You mentioned like 85% of the students get employment. How is that possible? That's quite a very good rate.
So it is possible because even though the job market is saturated, but those options are available for students to basically really
Mm,
hone in. So to
mm,
give you an example, right? So for our master's programs, we have something called as a smart capstone.
mm,
Now, what that smart capstone does is it attaches students with a real company and they solve real company problems, right? Now, what that does is immediately it gives access to the students to a company that is, they could be possibly hiring, you never know. So, it gives you an avenue to make yourself visible in that role or in a role that's given to you. It brings you close to the possible hiring manager, so
mm,
you can really navigate your way through it. So this is just one example that we offer, which is called as the smart capstone, but there are several other, like there is a career services team that works very closely. They do workshops, they do one-on-one sessions. So like your resume will definitely need revamping when you come to the US. Your LinkedIn should be updated. So those things they feel a lot when you come in the beginning, right? But when you have someone to kind of help you and go through that with you and really draft stuff for you, it really helps because those resources can be used by students. So we try and support our students in all of these aspects when it comes to finding jobs, because it is hard. I'm not going to deny it.
mm. I can
But
agree
we
with that.
but we but we help them in every stage possible to find what they're looking for.
Right. And you briefly touched point on something about the gap year. Say someone has gap year, would they have a good chance of getting in?
So actually, there is no caveat on the gap years. That's the
Mm,
best part. So if they, for example, they've taken a gap, but they've been working in their country, or they've been doing something, as long as there are documents, as long as you have that in when you make the application, you've submitted all your documents. It's the gap years don't actually have an impact as such. So it should be fine. You know.
right.
Mhm.
Right. And you should mention about accommodation, which is very important for a student who is planning to come to a foreign land. So
Mhm.
the accommodation cost that you mentioned, does this have to be paid also in advance? Do you need to book accommodation before a student will get there, or first they get a visa and then they start booking accommodation?
Great question.
Mm,
So, yes, we do not have on-campus accommodations, right? So what happens is when students are shared, so once they get their visa, the admission advisor will send certain links to them, will be like, hey, these are the options for say homestay, or these are the options for like houses and apartments that are available around the campus. It is completely on the student how they basically want to, if they want to use those resources or if they want to find stuff by themselves.
mm,
Personal experience, it's easier to find roommates on Facebook. It's
Mhm.
easier to find roommates. We have certain platforms that we'll share links of that, they can access those links and they can find their accommodation.
Mm.
They do not have to pay anything in advance, Stephen, in terms of accommodation. Only when they are ready to come to the US and they finalize the deals, that's where they need to pay the accommodation fees.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Now, question quickly about the Rio program. Could
Mhm.
this also accept students, let's say a student from Congo whose mother tongue is French and they don't have any English proficiency, could they also apply for this pathway?
Yes. So you do not need any minimum qualification for this. If they have absolutely zero experience in English, there are certain grades that they will fall into. They will have a conversation with that student and they will put them in that particular level. And that's how they will, so there are several levels. There are four levels basically under which they will kind of come into. And based on that, they can definitely apply for the program.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I'm so happy that you offer students like installment payment options.
Mhm.
This reduces the financial burden and stress.
Yes.
But even most important, that there are options for scholarship, like 10,000 euros per year. This is quite a huge relief. So if you were to give students some tips on applying for these scholarships, what should someone consider very important in order to be considered for scholarship?
Okay, again, personal experience because I did apply for scholarship and I won it.
Wow, congrats.
So, thank you. So, I always recommend to read up on the university, know why you want to do the course you want to do, and basically try when you go on the website and when you do a drop down of what are the scholarships that are available, be specific of the ones that you want to apply for. So, for example, if your future after you do your master's course is say in entrepreneurship, try and apply for something that is specific to that. If you want to apply region wise, you can do that as well. So whatever scholarships resonates with you the most, apply for that and try and make the essay as personal as possible and as thorough as possible, because that's going to be the key aspect of when someone's reading, a scholarship document. They're like, do they know enough about, the university, and do they know enough about what their future holds for them to actually apply for it? So my personal advice would be research on the university and research on which scholarship and why, and be honest and be real and yeah, just be yourself. It's important to be who you are. Don't try and use chat gpt for it. It won't help. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a good tip. And yeah, on that note, I really want to say thank you so much. Probably the final question would be just overall, there's so many fantastic places or destinations for students to study, but why do you think someone should consider the US as a country of choice and a study destination?
That is true. The world is beautiful. I would say specifically more for California than US, because US is just, geographically very huge.
Yeah.
But if I say specifically California, the weather, number one, the weather is beautiful. It's amazing. The sun is out most of the days. And also job opportunities, because in general, the US, I mean, we all know it's the number one country when it comes to, how students can kind of find jobs or like future prospects of, having an academic journey as well as having a professional journey. So
Mm.
I think, and California is again, one of the biggest in terms of its business district as well. So I think specifically these would be my reasons. And if I say Irvine, Irvine is also the safest city, which is our main campus. So, when students come in internationally, they want to feel safe. That is a very key aspect. So I think those would be my main reasons for them to move here.
Fantastic. The weather is always a plus. So I would say, and also you mentioned safety. For
Mhm.
most parents and students, safety first. It's always very important up there. And of course, the affordability. I think US is very diverse and universities are very expensive in some places. But I would say this is, to my experience so far, the cheapest and the most affordable one.
Yes.
And I would definitely recommend so many students. So thank you so much. As you mentioned, if students want to apply, Chiroto Consults is your get-to-go person. We'll be guiding you not only with the application process, but mentoring and giving you career guidance to ensure that you always apply to the courses that match your strength, and that you also understand the career prospects and you position yourself for that. So thank you so much for your time and
Thank you.
this wonderful information. And I look forward to further conversation.
Amazing, amazing. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Stephen. If we
You're
can
welcome.
have a quick chat before we, if we can stop the recording and I can have a quick chat with you, would be great.
Yes, sure.